Does Pratap Bhanu Mehta actually understand constitutional law? Can he teach it? And if he can't teach it, is that why the founders of Ashoka University forced him out? Let us weigh up the evidence. This is from, you're going to hear his voice. He's speaking to with Rajdeep Sardesai and addressing the quorum, which is about, and the topic was freedom of expression and secularism in India. So you will now hear the voice of this gentleman.
Where both authoritarianism and communalism are combining in a new and deep form. Emergency was authoritarianism, but not quite communalism in this way, at least at a national level. So that's one thing that's very distinctive, right? Because it has huge.
Well, it's very interesting that this guy thinks that you can have communalism without authoritarianism. Why? Does he not understand that under the rule of law, any communal action, communalist action, which is justiciable, it is forbidden by law. So only if there is an authority which can override the rule of law can there be any type of communalism which has any political effect, or which can involve any justiciable matter. So right from the start, we see that this man is a fucking cretin. You see, if there is a type of communalism which has no justiciable, which does not give rise to any action in law, then why should we bother with it? You know, if this people of this community, they want to put their moustache like this, what do we care? You see, the only reason that we care, that we take an interest in communalism, is if it can have result in discriminatory behavior, or if it can result in ethnic cleansing, or violence, or something of that sort. Otherwise, why are we concerned with it? We are not concerned with it. And only if there is authoritarianism. What does authoritarianism mean? Well, according to our constitution, according to what we have in India, there is authoritarianism if the rule of law is overridden by autocratas, by authority. It's a separate matter if the rule of law is overridden by mob violence or by an external invasion. That's a different matter. Authoritarianism means that the rule of law has been overridden by the executive authority, though I suppose, or some other, or some action of that type. And this guy doesn't get it. He doesn't get that all the various communal things which have happened in India, including ethnic cleansing, it happened there was a legitimate authority. But it happened in every type of extrajudicial killing, every type of discrimination has been, which is against the law, that has always been accompanied by authoritarianism, because an authority has overridden the rule of law. So he simply doesn't understand his own subject.
Huge ramifications. The second thing that is distinctive is, so one of the things I teach is constitutional law. For my sins, I edited the Oxford Handbook for the Indian Constitution. And I have to say, when I enter a constitutional law class these days, I cannot tell my students with a straight face what the Indian Constitution is and what protections it will give you. Rajdeep, you mentioned...
There's an excellent reason for this. It is because a professor has no locus standi whatsoever to interpret the Constitution of India, to say what it means, what its basic structure is. He has no locus standi in that matter at all. Only the bench does so. Now, people who practice constitutional law in front of the Supreme Court and who present arguments which the Supreme Court listens to, and sometimes they solicit opinions. they have some locus standi. Because, firstly, I suppose it arises out of right of audience, which Mehta does not have. Why the hell did Oxford University Press let this idiot, who's not a lawyer, who's not a constitutional lawyer, write some worthless shit? The answer is it's because it's a money-making institution and there's a little money to be made that way. You know, what's next? Will this guy say to his students, you know, I can no longer assure you that Newton's laws or Einstein's principle of relativity have application in India because I see things floating up in the air. You know, what's next? This is the level of stupidity that we have from this constitutional scholar.
There are a couple of high courts that are exceptions, but can any of us now count on a court protecting your habeas corpus protection, which is the absolute cornerstone of any civil?
This is mad. This is mad. Everybody who is currently in an Indian jurisdiction, and I'm speaking of people who have a lot of money and they can be in other jurisdictions, they have a choice. Anybody who is in an Indian jurisdiction relies upon that right. And this man is telling porkies. He's talking about crazy nutters who want to go to jail to get some attention and then to get some money. And, you know, he's talking about Gandhi-type nutters. Come on. You know, I mean, if I were young and I was utterly useless, of course I'd go to jail. You know, if I was smart like Akar Patel, you know, or not Akar Patel, some other Patel, well, some Patel or the other. Yeah, you know, do a couple of years in prison, and because Patels are smart, and you know, there's probably money to be made. But I'm a year. There's no point in my going to jail because people will just think I'm stupid.
Civilized society, right? Habeas corpus gone. Federalism. The
Federalism doesn't exist. The Supreme Court in 2016 said that even J&K didn't have a shred of sovereignty. This is the bench. It's a decision made by the bench. But the Constitution was unitary, and we know why it was unitary. We know that the British in 1935, you know, they said, well, we're devolving power to the provinces, and at a later stage we're going to sort out something at the federal level. But that never happened, and we know that story. We know that the Muslims wanted to go their own way. Muslim League won 90%, or something, or close to 90%. Of the Muslim vote, INC won 90% of the Hindu vote, and the two nations became a reality. It was a reality. Why pretend otherwise?
Constitution's division of powers between center, state, concurrent list. Absolutely meaningless now constitutionally. Yeah?
But this has always been true. This has always been true. Why pretend otherwise? The fact is that India saw that you could have a huge big famine in Bengal because Viceroy Saab can do nothing, you know, because not that he wanted to do anything, because those power over food had been devolved to Bengal. Viceroy could not get Punjab. Punjab wanted to send food to Bengal. There was money to be made. Maybe the states in between didn't want it. Whatever the story, you know, there are different ways that you can tell the story. But the fact is that India saw that you can't prevent ethnic cleansing in Bengal, you can't prevent famine in Bengal, if you have this type of federal structure. You know, that you can't even have a bloody budget. You know, come on. We know about this. We know what happened when Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was not exactly a weakling, he was Home Minister, Liaquat Ali Khan was a finance member. And what happened? You know, we know that the thing is unworkable. So why is Mehta pretending that we actually have some other constitution from somewhere else, which he knows about because he went to Oxford? Why is he pretending that? He doesn't know shit about the British unwritten constitution. He doesn't know shit about the American constitution. What, if he hasn't practiced law before the Supreme Court, how the fuck would he get to know about Indian constitutional law? You know, how is this possible? He won't tell us.
You can just go down the list of every single constitution. It's almost like, with the connivance of the Supreme Court, the constitution has been put in abeyance. It will be invoked when convenient, but it's not going to give you the protections you expect of it.
So what is Pratap Bhanu Mehta saying? And why is that bloody cretin, Rajdev Sardesai is almost as ugly as I am. And that's not a good thing. Believe me. Why are these two elderly gargoyles, I suppose, but actually Mehta is younger than me, why are these two gargoyles sitting there shitting upon India for YouTube? Why? What good does it do to Indians? Now, basically what they're saying is that, look, don't do any fucking business in India. If you have to do business, make sure that any justiciable matter is covered under an international treaty. So, in other words, if you're doing FDI into India, make sure that that you do it through London or through Los Angeles or through Beijing. Don't do it in India because there's no habeas corpus. You can be arrested and thrown in jail. It's not true. It's not true. Now, just as in Britain, there are some people who have Taliban links or ISIS links. And habeas corpus, there will be some human rights lawyers who are saying, oh, human rights have been violated in Britain. France is even worse because, ban on hijab and yewo. And America, oh my God, don't get me started on America. Because, let's face it, America, they will put you into detention and Guantanamo you. And, they do a lot more of that sort of thing than we do. We're a poor country, we can't afford it. So why are these guys sitting there, shitting on India? They live in India. If I do it, everybody understands that, you're cleaning toilets in London or doing something the equivalent of that. And you just want to bloody shit upon India because you're jealous. As somebody said, angur katte hain. You couldn't make it in India and, so you're pretending that everybody in India is terrified of the Gestapo coming and drag them off to jail where they'll, Kobat Gandhi, everybody's a Kobat Gandhi, ha, ha, ha. Why this pretense? What's the point? Who believes it? Is this secularism? Maybe it is. Maybe secularism in India, this is the title of the quorum discussion. Freedom of expression and secularism in India. And maybe freedom of expression, in order to prove that it is secular in India, maybe it involves telling very stupid lies. It involves shitting upon India. And I'm a bad guy. I ate all the wrong things and drank the wrong things and had sex, not within the jati or this or that. I didn't have a lot of sex. I do have sex, but within the jati, with myself, as is right and proper. And with one or two others who may not be... But, I'm an old guy, so give me a break. But, why are these guys shitting on India so heavily. And I'm now going to speak a little bit about my own experience. You see, the thing is that if you deny that there is any God, if you say, yeah, mommy and daddy, they did believe in God and they did do so much for me and my sister and for people around them, they had a very good reputation because they didn't try to just grab everything for themselves. They sacrificed for others. Why did they do so? I can't be sure, but I think it's because they believed that there is a Lord God who is the creator of the universe, that there is an immortal soul which gets stained when you tell lies. You know, stupidity, I'm stupid, I'm as stupid as shit. Be honest, come on. Ugly, stupid, worthless, yes, yes, yes. These are my attributes. But the moment ugly, stupid, worthless people like me, the moment we turn our face away from the truth and we start listening to lies, and I could enjoy this. I could say, yeah, oh my God, I'm so glad I escaped from India because now there's no habeas corpus in India. Modi would come and arrest me and probably sexually assault me and then subject me to fellatio and, suck off all my precious bodily fluids. I could have this fantasy. And I could be going, yes, 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 I love it, I love it. But it's all false. It's all completely false. And if you love your parents, then you start to love God because your parents can't be with you forever. So you have to love God. But what is loving God? Loving God is telling the truth. And, yeah, I'm stupid. But I don't want to tell stupid lies. I want to actually say things which are true, and that's what these guys will not do. And I think that's very sad. That secularism in India is about freely expressing the stupidest lies possible, which are as damaging as possible to India's economic future, so that nobody will invest there, so that poverty will increase, life chances for the young will be destroyed. Even if you're a professor at a posh university, yeah, and, let's face it, look at those kids from Ashoka University. They're good kids. Whether they pay 10 lakhs or they pay 1 lakh or they don't, they get full scholarship. Let me tell you, you look at those kids, all those young people, or research scholars and so forth, and they are excellent quality. They want to create wealth for India. They want to lift up those who did not have the same opportunities. They are good people. Maybe they believe in God. संस्कारी लोग होंगे, मुसलमान लोग होंगे, नमाजी लोग होंगे, सरदार जी होंगे, ये होंगे, वो होंगे. I don't care. It's what do we care? What do we care if they can deliver what is good and right and proper? And if they build some mosques and temples and this or that, is a mosque really so ugly? Is a temple really so ugly? It's a different matter that you can ban the loudspeaker of Azan or the loudspeaker of the temple, which is horrible. That's a different matter. That's about noise pollution. That's about curbing a nuisance. And politics is a lot about curbing wasteful competition. And the reason that India is a democracy and it has a constitution, let's be very honest, it's because Hindu sects or jatis or Muslim sects or whatever, jatis or biradaris, there was wasteful competition between them of a holier than thou type. That, you put purdah on your ladies, we'll take our ladies and we'll drop them down a dark well and put a cover over it to show that we are even more pure and higher than you. You're doing sati. Arey bhai, hum pehle se sare, we'll kill all the girls even before doing sati. We wanted to, just as in China, they had foot binding and they had this and they had that. You want to get rid of wasteful competition, which is for positional, for status and for position. And we want rationality. We want, actually, we're fine with a Ghanchi, and maybe 40 years ago, people would have said, no, it should be Kshatriya, it should be this, or it should, In Gujarat, maybe they had that attitude. I don't know. But they don't have it now. They don't care. And what I like about Gujarat, and what I liked previously about Bengal, was that they would not judge you that you're a Madrasi or ye wo ho, ki your skin is darker. They would judge you that you're honest, you work hard. That's all we ask. That is India. That we don't want wasteful competition in the provision of nuisances, of creating a nuisance. We want positive competition through education, through business, through things, sports, and even through debate, through freedom of expression. And that young chap that these guys mentioned, he's a young comedian. He's a good comedian. We want that. We don't want this. But these guys won't go to jail. More's the pity.